So this is me way back in 1998. The Spice Girls were on the radio, Deep Impact was on at the cinema, and throughout the summer of '98 I was playing Gran Turismo day and night on the original PlayStation. To make my racing experience even more immersive, I'd even bought myself a DualShock controller, PlayStation's first controller to feature thumbsticks together with rumble motors. And I vividly remember thinking back then that the graphics were so realistic looking whilst tearing around the track in my favourite car in the game, the Castrol Supra GT. And here we are, 25 years later, and I'm obsessed with Gran Turismo once again. But this time, I'm experiencing it in glorious virtual reality thanks to the PS5 and the PSVR 2. If little Mike had known back then that this is what gaming would look like in the future, it would have blown his little socks off. And to be fair, even though I'm well experienced in VR now, it still blows my socks off today. And here we go. Oh man, I've got all the HUD elements turned off, so this is how it should be played. Like, it's super immersive this way. The crazy thing is that my headlights are shining into the back of that car and I can see the detail inside it, which is completely mental. Just look at this thing. Wow. Those flames coming out the back are just so sick. They are just so sick. I love that attention to detail. Oh, am I gonna get him on the straight? Oh, we did it. That was epic. So here's a comparison of how the game looks in VR compared to the flat version. And as you can see, it's incredibly close, which is really impressive for a free VR mode. Now, although there's no way to actually test this to be 100% sure, I believe GT7 runs at 120Hz in VR, and they're able to achieve this by running the game natively at 60Hz and using reprojection. Essentially what this means is that the game is inserting artificial frames with head movement data in between each actual frame to make it up to 120Hz. They also use eye tracking for dynamic foveated rendering, which you can sometimes see in action in this gameplay footage. The result is a buttery smooth racing experience when you're looking straight ahead. However, you do get a bit of motion blur when looking out of the side windows as a trade-off. But for the most part, this game looks stunning in VR. You have the fully detailed cockpits with working mirrors, other cars on the track that are highly detailed with real-time reflections, you get weather effects, and at night, the bloom from the other car's headlights in your rearview mirror looks just as dazzling as it would be in real life. And to show you just how lifelike and detailed these cars are, this is a Mark I Audi TT 3.2 V6. And this is my actual car, which is the exact same model. This is the second TT I've owned, and I absolutely love this car. You can see from the interior here, aside from the bits that I've upgraded and the fact that the virtual car's steering wheel is on the wrong side, it's a perfect virtual recreation of the car. It really is incredible to sit in this and actually feel like I'm sitting in my own car. Now, just like younger me back in '98 buying the DualShock, to make this VR experience even more immersive, I've spent a small fortune on a full racing rig. You can, of course, still enjoy GT7 in VR just using the DualSense, but any racing wheel setup will make the experience 10 times better. And the best thing is, using a wheel is literally just plug and play. With this frictionless setup, I was racing with a wheel in VR in under 2 minutes flat. Now, I should point out that this video isn't sponsored in any way, and I paid for all this kit myself, but if you are interested, I've added links to everything in the description below. So getting back to GT7, I should mention that the full game is playable in VR, apart from the split-screen multiplayer mode, which, to be fair, makes sense. But it's just crazy how much content there is in this game, as it features over 400 different cars and over 35 different tracks to race on. When you put the headset on and you're in the game, the menu system is portrayed as a flat virtual screen in the headset, but once you start a race or you jump into the VR showroom, it's full virtual reality goodness. My only criticism with GT7 is the multiplayer mode, which is limited to a single track and whatever car you have equipped when you enter the multiplayer lobby. It would have been so much better to have been able to create a lobby with your friends and swap out the different cars and tracks on the fly, as it's just a bit frustrating to keep having to set up a new event just to change the track and the cars. Another minor gripe is that it would have been really cool to be able to see the other players' head movements in multiplayer races, but I appreciate this is just a minor detail. So, in conclusion, since the PSVR 2 launched, I've been spending most of my time playing GT7 in VR, which is why it ranked in the #1 spot in my top 10 PSVR 2 launch games video. And I should be clear, I'm not a sim racer by any means. I have, of course, tried getting into other VR sim racing games in the past on PC, but the setup time, tweaking, along with inconsistent performance, all just took the joy out of the experience for me. Now, I appreciate for some, they will 100% prefer the PC VR racing sims, like Assetto Corsa for example, as they can tweak everything to their heart's content. And for some, that's great, but if you're like me and time is limited, and you just want to put on the headset, grab a wheel, and race in VR, it honestly doesn't get any better than this. But that is enough from me. Let me know what you all think in the comments down below. I'd also love to know from other petrol heads out there what they think of GT7 in VR, what their favourite car is in the game, along with what you're all driving in real life. I'd love to know in the comments down below. Leave a little like if you enjoyed the video, make sure you're subscribed for all my future VR content, and as always, I'll see you all on the next one. Cheers.